I can grab you guys.
Okay, we're going to get started in just a bit. It got really quiet in here, so that was a little fun. Um, but I'll be back. All right. Well, we're going to get started now. Hello, everyone. Thank you guys for joining us at our Retail Marketing and Sales Certificate in partnership with PSC. Um, so happy you guys are here today and so happy that we have our awesome partners here as well. We're just missing one, so we'll see if they show up. They might be judging the competition too. So you notice that there's no QR code. We're going to have that up at some point during this meeting, so keep an eye out for that. Otherwise, I have our lineup for today. We are going to get it started. For what? The QR code is for your attendance, like we do every single meeting, and also for extra credit if you have a class that you're supposed to be here for. And then also, um, it's to get in contact with our partners. So there's a question there that's going to ask you if you want to be contacted by any of our partners, and you just click yes, and they'll be in touch with you. Okay, so after our certificate, we still have some quick housekeeping things for AMA. We're going to be talking about next week's meeting and then some upcoming events as well. And then I'm going to hand it off to our moderator for today, Rob Boostrom. Um, Let me click next because that wasn't working. Okay. We have Rob, one of our awesome professors that is going to be taking over, and let's please give him a warm welcome.
Thank you. Thank you very much. So I think we've got
a set of slides then for introducing our panel. We'll start with TTI and Milwaukee Tool. So if you'd like to introduce yourselves, we'll start with the in-person person.
Good afternoon, guys. My name is Jenna Brown. I'm a regional manager with Team TTI based out of Milwaukee, Wisconsin. I've been with the company for about 3 years now. And currently I oversee a team of 9 field sales and marketing representatives, that entry-level role, and about $27 million in sales. I'm excited to be here with you guys today.
Good deal. All right. And we also have a virtual guest from TTI Milwaukee Tool.
Yeah, hey, good afternoon, everybody. I am Cameron Cron. Been with Milwaukee about 12 years now. Actually graduated from Whitewater back in 2012. I'm a director of sales for our IC side, or our distribution side of our business. So I take the central division. So I am basically Wisconsin over to Denver and down to Texas. I manage about 5 people who under them have about a total of 60 people. So thank you for having me. Looking forward to the discussion today.
All right. Thank you very much. Next, Steinhoffels. Sorry about that. All right. So tell us about yourselves.
My name is Chad Wyman. I'm a district manager for Steinhoffels. I've been with the company for 13 years. I run 7 stores for the company. Travel between Green Bay, Wisconsin, Appleton, 2 stores in Madison, and then I have 3 stores in the Chicago market. I have about 7 general managers and about 120 sales associates that work with me.
Hello, I am Julia, also with Steinhoffels. I'm a sales manager with them currently in the Madison market. I've actually been at 4 stores in my 4 years with them. And prior to that, I came right out of Whitewater here. So I graduated in 2020 and I've been with Steinhoffels since. So I've started as a manager in training and then I've been a sales manager kind of since. And yeah, been loving it.
I must say, from my own perspective, we've been fortunate enough to be able to put a panel like this together for many years in a row now. So it's kind of interesting to see the panel and see some folks that I recognize because they've been on the panel several times, and some folks because they've been in the classroom. So so it's kind of fun to be here and see that. So let's bring up Penske then.
I am David. I work for Penske out of the Milwaukee office. I've been with the company for about 3 years in a branch rental manager capacity. So I develop the next generation of leaders as well as managing the consumer and commercial product lines out of Milwaukee. And I've also worked in the Green Bay and Neenah offices before coming back. Multinational company, $16 billion total, 450,000 trucks in our fleet. Some of the lease customers you might know are Menards, and on the logistics end, Harley Davidson. Thanks.
So brands you've heard of. So there you go. And Tom James, if you would.
Hi, my name is Brandy. I work at the Tom James Company. I'm actually an outside sales professional in our downtown Chicago office. Been with the company for about 6.5 years now. Not only am I a salesperson, but I'm also growing my team as well. So I have 2 directs underneath me. I'm supposed to give a little bit about the company right now too. You're supposed to give a little bit about the company right now too.
A little bit.
So Tom James, we're an outside sales company. Our product is custom clothing. We're actually the largest custom clothing company in the world. We go directly to our clients in their homes or offices. We're in 100 offices, almost every major city here in the US. Yeah, it's fun.
Well, and one thing to note, we have a variety of different companies up here, right? So tonight it's the retail certificate, but when we look at this set of companies, we see that we've got companies, we've got Steinhoffels, which is aiming at end consumers, good old-fashioned furniture retail, pretty straightforward. But then we look at some of the other companies we've got up here. We've got TTI Milwaukee Tool. That's a company that will work with retailers to make sure stuff is on the shelves, right? And then we've got Tom James, which is doing a different kind of retailing because they will come to you to check out your size and get the right clothes to you. And with Penske, they've it's B2B as well as B2C. So kind of an interesting mix, connecting to retail in different ways. So let's start off with we've got a set of panel questions. So the first question is, I apologize. Okay, let me pass this along before we get to that. Just another minute or two of that.
Awesome. All right. Well, excited to tell you guys a little bit more about TTI and Milwaukee Tool. How many of you guys are familiar with TTI? A good share of the room. Okay, awesome. I'm really excited to kind of share some more here. So if you're not already familiar with us, TTI stands for Tektronix Industries, going to be the parent company or holding organization of brands like Milwaukee Tool, Ryobi Power Tools. If you're also familiar with Hart, we've got a floor care sector with Huber and Dirt Devil. And essentially kind of what we are and what we do is we launched a leadership development program, or an LDP, back in 2007, where essentially everyone is going to start off in one of our two first roles as a field sales and marketing representative or as an event marketing specialist. This thing is clicking. Awesome. So kind of looking at essentially what is TTI, what do we do, and how do we really support retail here? So in that first role as a field sales and marketing representative, you're assigned a territory typically consisting of Home Depot stores, anywhere from 1 to 3 based on volume and demand within that market. Within that store or your assigned territory, you are that go-to brand ambassador. Looking at Milwaukee Tool, you're working with Ryobi as well as Rigid, if you're familiar with that brand. Within the stores, though, you're going to be hosting events to really drive consumer engagement, focused on also learning more about who is purchasing from us, what are our end users, and what are they looking for, driving sales within those stores, learning about our product lineups, and why we are the world-class leader in power tool development. Essentially also working on building relationships, something that you're going to use whether it's in your first role or well beyond that. Learning how to kind of analyze your market. What's a strategy and where's the room for opportunity? You get to do a lot of creative merchandising. So looking at different opportunities for market expansions. Where can we drive different growth? Where can we find and identify these opportunities to bring in additional products? Looking at the pictures here, you're also going to work directly with the customers, selling in aisle to them, but you're also going to sell that relationship and selling in additional spaces and merchandising to those store managers. I know I referenced earlier our leadership development program. This is really what that looks like, and it brings a nice visual to it. So as I referenced before, our field sales and marketing representative role is that first level. It's where you really start that grassroots approach, understand our business so that one day you can run our business. It gives you a great perspective to then move forward into one of our 4 avenues: sales, management, marketing, or operations. Either staying with TTI if you're looking to go into management or operations, or you can move into a Milwaukee Tool role with sales or marketing. And it's also highly encouraged that, you know, become the best and the most well-rounded version of yourself, exploring different opportunities and maybe going throughout sales to marketing, hop over to management, and gain experience in all 4 areas. But I'm going to pass it over to Cameron to kind of cover more of our Milwaukee side.
Yeah, thank you. So if you go to the next slide, it's an exciting year for Milwaukee Tool. We actually hit 100 years old. And last year we were rated top places to work on Glassdoor.com, and that really comes down to what we pride ourselves most on, and that's our people as well as our culture. So we have a really strong dynamic when it comes to both our culture and our people. Jen, if you go to 2 more slides, or who's ever running the slideshow, 1 more slide, please. So from 2012 to 2022, we grew at a 20% growth, and one reason is due to investment back into our business. We have multiple manufacturing plants spanning across the globe, but our headquarters is based out of Brookfield, Wisconsin. Just last year, we opened up a new corporate office in downtown Milwaukee that really houses a lot of our marketing folks as well as finance folks. But we also have manufacturing in West Bend, where we just built Made in America USA hand tools, Mukwonago, Wisconsin, and then Mexico, Europe, as well as Asia. If you go to the next slide, last year results, we hit $10 billion in the globally, I should say, as an organization, which was 11% growth overall. I appreciate you guys inviting me to this panel this afternoon, and definitely look forward to the discussion moving forward regarding Milwaukee Tool as well as all these other companies here.
All right. Thank you very much. Steinhoffels.
In Steinhoffels, we'll actually hit our 90th year this year in business. So we're a fourth generation family ran, employee owned company now. So that's something fairly new to us. So in 2020, the company, the third generation of owners sold the company back to all the employees. So we're now what we call an ESOP company or employee ownership company, which is a amazing benefit that we can now add. The fact that the company's made it to 4 generations, it's something that's 1% of 1% of family run businesses make it to a 4th generation. It's a very, very small percentage. So we're in a growth mode right now, expanding more into the Chicagoland and Illinois area. We'll be opening 2 new stores in Chicago this year, one in Schaumburg and one in Orland Park, with plans to open another 6 to 8 stores in Illinois over the next 2 or 3 years. So we're definitely in a growth mode right now. And I mean, our positions go from anywhere from consumers, furniture sales, leadership positions, things like that, and trying to grow those individuals from within. I think one of the really important parts of just being that employee ownership is that we all have a responsibility to make the company better, and just how many ideas come out from our employees, our internships. One thing that we've recently continued to execute at the store level that was an idea from an intern was electronic tagging. So we used to have paper tags for all of our furniture products, had to change them constantly. And an intern suggested that we should go to a digital tag. And at the time, it was actually too costly. But a couple of years later, as the costs went down, we've now invested into digital tags. And so, just taking those ideas from all levels of our employees is a big part of our culture, and I think something that makes us, really special, actually. So, yeah, first store opened in 1993 in Milwaukee. So we now we'll have 15 stores by the end of the year this year. Kind of an interesting piece of that. So I think the last thing to kind of talk about is our Steinhoffel values, which is like an important piece of I think a lot of companies they'll take and they'll find cool words and they throw them up on the wall someplace. But when Steinhoffels wanted to come up with their values, they actually sat down and they said, all right, who are our best employees and why? And they came up with the values that you see kind of listed, through that today, which I think is really cool. And when we're looking for employees, for new associates, leaders, these are the values that we're looking during that recruitment and interview process. Like, do you guys have the values that Steinhoffels has?
I think Chad's hit on a lot of this throughout, but just to reemphasize, 90 years of experience. So there's a lot of people within Steinhoffels who have been with the company for a number of years. So there's just a ton of knowledge and experience that can come between all of our employees. Being a top workplace, we've been listed top workplace for a number of years. So I think it's really powerful to say that actually comes from our associates. There's a survey that gets sent out every year, and then based on feedback received from all of the associates is actually how that award comes to be. So I think that's a really powerful award that we consistently win. You're both going to get professional and personal development. I think Steinhoffels really helps to gear that towards what you want and what you're looking for. So personally, it's very hands-on and guided towards, what you want out of the career. competitive wages. So at our sales associates, it's an uncapped income. So people who are really interested and invested into sales have unlimited possibilities with that. The career advancements, just having accessible leaders. And we've touched a little bit on us being employee owned, but something that definitely doesn't get overlooked that we take a lot of pride in at Steinhoffels.
All right. David Penske, please.
I love it when they give me a different slideshow than what they gave you guys. So, as I said earlier, we're a full service transportation solutions company. So we provide the backbone to a lot of different industries, whether that's food, steel, FedEx, Amazon on the more of the commercial side, as well as any consumers that are moving across the country. Typically, they come to us because of our maintenance standards and our safety equipment inside of the trucks. Locally here, we have 3 branches in Milwaukee, 1 in Madison, there's some in Appleton, Green Bay, and Wausau. As terms of jobs, everybody comes in as a management trainee. They learn sales, finance, leadership, and maintenance over the course of around 6 months, so that you have that foundation to move into a sales role, whether that's inside or outside sales or leadership like myself, any maintenance roles, as well as financial, like operational leadership roles too.
All right. Thank you very much. And Brandy, Tom James, please.
All right. As I said, we're a clothing company. Our whole process is we make everything from custom suits, sport coats, shirts, slacks, even down to custom jeans and casual wear. We're also an employee-owned company, which is very cool that you guys are too. We're a privately held company too, so we all take ownership in the company. You can earn stock, buy stock. With that, I know local locations. We're in Milwaukee, Madison. We have a Fox Valley office. Like I said, I work in Chicago. And if you guys want to get out of Wisconsin, we're in every major U.S. city, so there's definitely a ton of options. When it comes to roles that we have, so I'm an outside sales professional. Everyone pretty much starts there. We now have an SDR role as well, which is a sales development representative role. That's more of like a 3 to 5 month program if you want a little more experience, a little more training when it comes to the sales end of the career. And then that eventually leads into the outside sales role. From that, you kind of build your clientele from the ground up when you start with Tom James. So if you decide to skyrocket your business, add a bunch of clients, be an awesome salesperson, you can go that route. I decided to build my clientele and then also go into leadership. So if you like the idea of management or training people, I find a lot of that's really rewarding for me. So I now have a team. And then if you're really ambitious, you can also then open up your own store at some point too. I know our Fox Valley office, he actually worked in Minneapolis and he decided to open a store where he kind of grew up. So there's lots of opportunities for where you want to go with your career. And then we also do have summer internships as well. So if you're still looking for a summer internship, I do believe the Milwaukee one is still open and so is Fox Valley. I don't know if I missed anything.
Good deal. All right. Lots of good info. All right. So let's start asking questions of the panel. And so we'll start with question number 1. And if one rep from each company could respond and you guys could kind of figure out who wants to do what. So question 1, how did you end up working in retail? Let's start on this end and I'll let you two decide which one gets the answer.
I'll take that one. So I was actually a UW-Whitewater student as well. Was not into business or sales. I actually I wanted to be a high school history teacher. And while I was going to school, I started working in retail just as a job. And as I was getting very close to graduation, found out there were no jobs available in Wisconsin at the time for history, which is what my major was in for teaching. And I was going to have to move out of state. And that didn't sound very interesting to me at that time. And Walmart offered me a position as an assistant manager. So my first retail career was with Walmart. I spent 14 years there. And kind of took the job for 2 reasons. A, there was no teaching jobs in Wisconsin, and B, an assistant manager at Walmart makes more than a high school history teacher. So kind of started my retail career that way. Worked my way up through Walmart. I was a store manager, a district manager for Walmart. Moved 11 times in 14 years, all over the country for Walmart, which was fun at one point and not fun at another point. So, but I've really enjoyed. I mean, I still tell people I still teach. I just teach something else. So now I get to teach, I teach furniture, sales, leadership, so I still get to use a lot of the, the things that I love about teaching, but just in different area now. So love the people aspects of retail. So
When I was at Crate and Barrel, I knew a whole lot of teachers who switched from teaching to working at Crate and Barrel, so it doesn't surprise me too much. Yeah.
So very similarly, I also graduated from UW-Whitewater back in 2021. Actually found TTI at one of these certificate programs. It was the B2B actually in the fall semester. Came to learn more about how they offered a limitless potential of opportunities, not just for entry-level jobs outside of college, but also the long-term growth that I was looking for in my career and the opportunities to explore and really find my best fit, whether it was sales, marketing, management, operations. I knew that I'd have a long-term career with TTI and Milwaukee Tool. So that's a little bit about.
That's pretty good. Thank you very much. All right.
I think I stumbled on retail on accident. I'm from a very small town in Wisconsin. My dad and grandpa actually owned a family shoe store. So technically I've been working retail since I was like 3. And then I technically worked retail in college too, just to get by. But I actually went to college, just thought I wanted to be in psychology. They told me I had to go to grad school. That wasn't for me. My mom told me to go to business. Literally had one sales class, kind of liked it. So yeah, I just kind of stumbled across sales. I actually went to UW Eau Claire, and Tom James just happened to come to campus. So I knew about them out of college. I actually worked somewhere else first, decided to move to Chicago, and they just kind of reached out to me on LinkedIn. And it was perfect timing. So I'm in sales at Tom James. I even to this day, I would say I'm not a very salesy person either. I just kind of liked the opportunity that the company had, amazing company culture, and the opportunity for like long-term career growth instead of just like a job. So
Well, that's an interesting point you make related to sales and how it fits in with your work. We'll be visiting that a little bit more later on, but sales, part of every business, but different roles approach sales differently depending on what the firm is and who they're serving, that kind of thing.
Well, our very own John DeGraff sent me a LinkedIn direct message of an opening at Penske, and Kelly, our now DM, who went here as well. I just remembered her preparing to present in front of Case and winning all these sales competitions. And if she stayed with the company for 5 years, that's the kind of company I want to work for. So I did some research, saw all the personal growth, professional growth, and all the different skill sets that I could grow long term, and applied for it, sent her a message, and here we are.
Well, there you go. All right. Question number 2, and this time we'll start from that way and work this way, huh? Tricky, right? So question number 2, what does a day in the life look like for your new hires? So when somebody joins on, what is that life like when you're bringing them into the company and the culture?
Yeah, we're going to start by introducing them to the front line on the rental counter, answering very warm, easy calls, booking reservations, and then mix in some onboarding videos as well as one-on-one training with myself. And then we're going to do some interdepartmental meetings with finance or service to continue to broaden their skill set. And then after about 3 months, we would work together with my associate on building a personalized development plan for them, and they would work on tailoring their skill set into either sales, finance, leadership, or maintenance, and they get to choose the path that they want to go down.
Sounds good. All right.
for new partners, we do have a few months of training before you're actually selling for yourself. So that could involve like Zoom meetings, training, flying to Nashville to learn how to measure, do the phone pitch. Every single week, Tuesday through Thursday, you're actually in the field with either your leader or someone on your training team. So you get to go and see their clients, get referrals from them, but a lot of training the first couple months. And then after that, everyone in our office essentially has the same schedule until you're more veteran and have your clientele set. So we have morning meetings Monday, Wednesday, Friday, and then everyone's in office on the phone at the same time to kind of build that excitement, booking appointments. And then after that, from 10:30 to end of day, everyone's kind of running their own schedule. They're going to see those clients that they booked. They're going to do fittings. They're doing any order uploading that they need to do, booking more appointments. And then once a week too, you have a meeting with your leader to answer any questions you may have, more training, and so on. So a little bit of structure and then kind of running your own day.
Sounds good. All right.
Awesome. So when it comes to a new hire with Team TTI and in that field sales and marketing representative role, you are in the field 40 hours a week, learning directly from our end users and from your management teams as well. Learning the ropes as far as how do we execute different marketing initiatives in stores. That could look like anything from updating signage, putting out new products, executing different resets to expand product assortments. Selling directly in aisles as customers are kind of going about. So that way you can qualify them for a solution within one of our brand portfolios. After about, let's say, a month in your role, you'll attend your first corporate training at our Brookfield office, followed up by a second tier training about 6 months in as well. Really giving you the opportunities to try every single tool hands-on. Not just ours, but our competitors as well. So you can speak to competitive advantage and how we really dominate over our competitors in the marketplace.
All right. Thank you very much. Julie?
So Steinhoffels has recently, I don't want to say changed our structuring, but we've really set it up to make our associates really successful right away out the gate. So what'll happen is our new hires, again, just kind of starting at sales, is we're going to give you what I like to call the classroom training. Like you're going to need to learn about our products, our policies, our systems, all of that kind of thing. But you're really going to learn best by just hitting the floor. So I say we really only give you about 5 days of that hands-on classroom stuff that we're going to bore you with, but hitting the floor, you're going to learn the best by just starting to interact with customers. Many of you did the sales competition today, so you kind of know what that process looks like, kind of what we look for, but that's essentially what we're going to teach you. So how to do or how to go through a sales process. A really hard part is getting in with a customer and closing with a customer. And that middle stuff we say is kind of the easy fluff in between. So we're really going to teach you skills from how to get in with customers, asking really good probing questions, leading into then understanding what the customer is looking for. So just how to navigate that sales process throughout. So essentially, you're just starting to learn through your first 90 days, and you're doing well with Steinhoffels. We're just gonna continue on, but it's really just a lot of hands-on learning that you're gonna get in the beginning. Those that are then going for MIT or leadership or things like that, kind of once you've got a really good understanding, you're starting to do really well with the sales, you're building your bank, all of those things, we'll just kind of start introducing you to some of the leadership tasks. So things like that, we'd start showing you different things that management does on the side as well, and we'll just kind of start integrating that as you're ready. So we say it's a process for you guys as well as us. When you're ready to introduce the next steps, we kind of go for those things. If you're ready for the next challenge, I go to Chad and I say, Chad, I need something else. I need another challenge here, and then he throws something at me. So it's a lot of self-guided, which I really appreciate as well. Yeah, that kind of sums up how it starts. It's exactly the process here. I met at the career fair, and
There you
the way
go.
through I asked Chad for more, and he lets me come to Whitewater 3 times this month.
It's nice that you can come back home. Yeah. Well, and one thing that I want to emphasize, when you are thinking about where you're going to work after you graduate, wherever that might be, you want to look for a company that is willing to invest some time and money and effort into your success, which is what you're seeing with all of these companies. All of these companies are willing to put the time and effort. They're willing to invest in you in a variety of ways. Some companies that might try to hire you might not offer that kind of thing. Always look for it. What you're hearing up here are good programs for onboarding folks and making sure they can actually have successful careers. So important stuff. All right. Question 3. What are some of the biggest myths about working in a retail environment? We'll start over here.
I think it's true for some retail still, but I think the biggest one is that you have to work 1 million hours to be a retail manager. So I think that's something about like Steinhoffel's culture, and I'm sure we'll hear that from a lot of people, is like our leadership team works a 42-hour work week. Part of my role as a district manager is if one of my managers works more than 45 hours in a week, I call them and ask them what's going wrong. Like that's part of our culture. Like, why did you feel like you had to work so much extra? What went wrong? These are salaried managers, so truthfully, we're getting free labor out of them. But on the other end, like that leads to burnout. It leads to not being happy in the workplace. You know, they're not growing, they're not developing. So that's a big part of our culture. And I think that's a huge myth in retail, especially in retail leadership, is that you have to work 50, 60 hours every week to be a retail leader. The other one that I would say for furniture or sales in general, you know, I think furniture sales and sales in general is a lot more about customer service. It's not about hard closing people. It's not about being rude or like being someone you're not. Most of the time, I would tell you when we sell furniture, it's about having a great conversation with a customer and then they happen to buy a sofa along the way. And it's about that experience and that fun. So, and it's, you know, I think in general, like what we do is very fun. You know, most of our customers have a great experience. Shopping for furniture is fun. Wouldn't always say that maybe wasn't the case at Walmart. Shopping for toilet paper is probably not nearly as fun, but when you're buying a new sofa, a new mattress, you know, a new recliner, something like that, in general, that's something like you're going to enjoy. You're making your life better. So people are pretty happy to do that. So I think, you know, shopping customers, you know, being rude or shoppers being that, in general, our customers are very fun to work with, and it's a great experience from both sides.
All right. Thank you very much. Sounds good.
All right. I think the biggest myth that even myself, I thought when I was looking at graduating and looking at different opportunities, working in different retail settings, that I really came to see was that there isn't a glass ceiling. Your growth is never really limited. And I think sometimes that is a thought that kind of passes through our heads that you can only go so far, or that there's only so many opportunities that will be presented to you, or that you won't feel challenged. I think the biggest thing is that, I mean, looking at TTI and the career opportunities that have been presented, is that you will be challenged every step of the way. You will learn so much, not just from our training programs, but directly from our end users as well. And that there will be so many opportunities that will present themselves every step of the way, regardless of what direction you decide to go, whether it's sales, marketing. There's so many different avenues for you to really tap into your potential and see exactly how much you can actually achieve just by starting in that retail support setting.
Okay, great. Thank you very much.
I don't think I have a good answer for this one because last semester I did this. I didn't really think Tom James was retail. So maybe that's a misconception. Um, and then maybe also like I think in retail in general, I always kind of viewed retail as the customers come to you. But I think even in that aspect of retail, I think like whatever you're learning in your sales classes here still is like extremely helpful, right? People aren't just going to come in and buy whatever all the time. You like it's really important to ask questions to see what actually makes sense. So as someone said, you're not trying to hard sell them on something. It's more about like the understanding the needs of the customer client and then helping them fill that. So
Yeah. Well, and to go back to what you mentioned before about what retail is, when we say retail, we're really talking about selling to end consumers, right? So that individual, that person who's going to use stuff as opposed to B2B, right? And some of the firms up here, you know, well, I guess all the firms up here to one degree or another sell to businesses, but also have relationships with those end consumers, people like us. So.
When I think about a retail myth, I just envision like checking stuff out all day and there not being a lot of variety in the work. And that is not my experience at all, because I could be going through different reports, looking at 400 trucks in my fleet, a couple $1 million of assets, and I get to custom build that for the market that I'm in that's changing constantly. Or I could be in a one-on-one, having a very vulnerable conversations with my team and developing people and contributing to their growth as a human being. Or I could be on the phone with a police officer saying my truck went through a electrical pole and is in a reservoir. So I always tell all my associates, you're gonna have a lot of really good stories to say at the end of the day.
All right, then. Never a dull moment. There you go. See, if you want to avoid boredom, then retail, that's the world for you. All right, so now we're on to question 4. So, Cameron, get ready. You're going to be showing up in a second here. So question 4, we'll start on that end. What skills are you looking for when you make a hiring decision? What are the main duties of your management team? So we'll start with David and we'll bring Cameron in for the TTI slot there in the middle.
Yeah, when I'm interviewing somebody, I'm really looking, are they vested in their career? Do they care about their growth long term? Are they growth oriented? Are they self-aware? Do they know their skill set? And are they humble enough to say, these are the areas that I want to grow in? And do they also know the value that they're bringing me as a potential employer and how, results that they've done to contribute to that? And then also, for those of you that have a really high GPA, that's fantastic. Please make sure you know how did you get there and why did you get there and the importance behind there, because that will help a lot from my experience.
All right, good deal. Randy.
We look for individuals that have high integrity because we are a privately held company, that we're all owners of the business. We want to make sure they have high integrity, a really good work ethic. We are eventually, you're building your clientele from the ground up. So we know that that takes time. So as he mentioned as well, we look for somebody that's looking at this as a career that's going to take time and is willing to put in the work to do that. And then we look for people that are just like open to suggestion, like open to learning, because you don't know what you don't know when you leave college, right? So just anyone who's like ready to hit the ground running, has that drive, has that ambition, and is ready to learn. And then our management team, there's a second part of the question.
What are the main duties of your management team?
So for our management team, we're structured where every office has one leader. And then also underneath that, there are training teams as well. So I would say in an office management, they kind of run our morning meetings. They're responsible for weekly one-on-ones to make sure everyone is doing okay, further training, make sure no one's like getting lost in the weeds, just helping through the career.
All right, there you go. Cameron, your
Yeah.
moment has arrived. So to give you the question again, what
Yep.
skills are you looking for when you make a hiring decision? And what are the main duties of your management team?
Yeah, so personally for me, it's all about being driven, trusted, coachable, outgoing. When you look at trusted, a lot of our salespeople, for example, I manage people that are in Wisconsin, Minnesota, Colorado, Texas. So I'm with them maybe once every 2 months, but I'm talking to them day in and day out. So really trusting them to make sure that they're making the right decisions day in and day out. And then like a lot of the folks here on the panel have said, like being outgoing, understanding that relationship building can go a long ways, especially with your end consumer, but also for Milwaukee Tool, who doesn't sell direct, our distribution partners. The second question, main duties of our management team, is continue to make sure our employees are continuously growing. From a sales side, we really want to understand who's going to be that next leader within our company as we continue to grow year in and year out. Also, from a top line perspective, a lot of these guys are managing multi-million-dollar books of businesses and just understanding how they can grow year in and year out. And we do this by building those strong relationships with distribution partners to make sure not only our business is growing, but their business is growing as well.
Good stuff. Thank you very much.
Yep.
So a lot of the things I think have been said that it's very similar through most sales positions on things that we look for, but I think really important in Steinhoffels is I don't really care as much as far as what your degree is, what your background is, exactly those types of things, but we look for those people skills. One, like, can you hold a conversation? We're sitting in an interview, I look for questions. This is a sales position. You're going to have to ask a lot of questions. So, do you have questions for your interviewee? If you don't ask a question, probably a good chance I'm not going to move on with you. There's something that you've got to get. Just being personable. We've touched a little bit on Steinhoffels values. That's a huge thing that we do look for throughout the interview. So, how can we ask questions to learn about this individual's integrity, their competency, having passion and dedication here is something huge. Being in any sales role, you really have to have passion for what you're selling, I think, in order to be successful with selling the products there. That kind of hones in being self-driven. You definitely have to have that motivation and drive, to come to work every day, start the process again, talk with the customers, possibly take a lot of no's, and be able to, bounce back the next day and know that that'll be your $10,000 day. So that diversity. As far as management duties, we're here to help. So each store has 1 to 2 sales managers, their general manager, and an operations manager. So typically at least 3 to 4, and we're there to, make sure that the store is running. So we're always going to know where your numbers are at, where your KPIs are at, where your team is at, being there available for coaching. One-on-one coachings are something we've been huge into. My one-on-one, like a 1-minute manager, as I call it, doesn't take a lot of time. You can simply take 1 minute to give a praise, 1 minute to give a coaching, 1 minute to give some kind of follow-up. So just constantly throughout the day, know where your team is at, know where you're at, and how to continue driving forward.
1 minute manager. That's a classic. Yeah. Old school. Yeah. All right. So question number 5. We would like the panel to discuss in detail some of your in-store marketing strategies. What outside of the 4 walls marketing strategies do you also do to acquire and retain customers? So basically, how do the marketing strategies touch what you're doing, and what impact might you have on those marketing strategies?
Yes, I mean that's definitely changed a lot. I mean, I think the pandemic changed marketing a lot. We're at this point, I would say 90% of what we do is social media, email campaigns, text campaigns, things like that. We do all of our advertising in-house, which is pretty unique for our type of business. We actually have a state-of-the-art video and photo studio at our corporate office where we shoot all of our own TV commercials. We shoot all of our own in-store marketing materials. We actually have our own in-store TV network. So as you're walking around a Steinhoffel store, if you're in the mattress department, there's a commercial playing about the mattress that you might be looking at. If you're in the reclining section, there's a commercial about a Lazy Boy chair. So, and our advertising, their job is to basically drive traffic into the store. Something that's probably more newer, I would say, in the last, we did it in the past and we've brought it back, is really like a gift with purchase strategy. And so like trying to like give customers like something tangible, because money, we give a lot of discounts, like 10% off your purchase, things like that. But I think customers love like tangible items. So we'll do things from, we just got out of a promotion for like airline tickets. So like depending on the size of your purchase, you got so many dollars in airline tickets, like up to $300 for an airline. Or we've done hotel stays, we've done TVs. We're gonna do a thing like, because there's like yeah, we've done Yeti coolers, Stanley mugs, things like that. So different price points, different dollars, but just different ways to try to entice customers to get into the store. I mean, that's really what our advertising's focus is. How do we drive traffic into the store and find ways to do that? I mean, we've done Portillo's gift cards. If you come and test, all you have to do is come and actually test rest a mattress. You don't even have to buy the mattress. You come in and you test rest a mattress, and we'll give you a $25 food gift card so you can go get lunch on us. So, which obviously the idea is we get them in, you lay on the mattress, they're gonna fall in love with it. Why would you not want to buy a mattress and get a free lunch? So, just trying to do different things like that to get the customers in the doors.
All right, I'm going to try not to think about Italian beefs while we move on to the next person here.
Awesome. Did you want me to go, or sorry?
Sorry, Cameron.
I can finally see myself figure out on the screen there. So from the pro consumer standpoint, what TTI and Jenna does with Home Depot is a little bit different than what we do from the industrial side of distribution. A lot of people may drive by the distribution that we sell to, not even know, but the pro consumer does know who those distributor partners are. But when it comes to marketing in the stores, for us, it's all about merchandising the product in key areas. So whether it's somebody going to pick up a large order that their business purchased in the back door, having product ready to be purchased there, or whether they're coming up to the front desk to order. For us, it's all about that. We don't spend a lot of money on marketing on, call it billboards or commercials. We utilize a lot of that money for research, as well as building our brand presence through the products that we sell day in and day out. Another big part of the job that our salespeople do is PK sessions, what we call them. So product knowledge sessions. I think some people brought it up today, but we have only so many sales reps throughout the US and the globe. But what we do have is an extended amount of salespeople with our distribution partners that if we can't be out there selling with them to our end users, we can definitely teach them about our products and why they may be better than the competition, so they can go out and sell for us.
All right. Thank you very much.
Yep.
All right. So we as a company do not pay to advertise. So there's a lot of different levels to this, I guess. We're a company we're outside sales, so we go to our clients and we're very like word of mouth. So if you hear about our company through a friend, they can definitely go onto our website and request to see somebody. That's the one way that someone will come in. Recently, though, we're really, really improving our presence on social media. So for someone like me that doesn't like to post on social media, our company will actually produce things that we can easily copy, or like photos, and like put out messages on our social medias. A lot of new partners, though, have really, I would say, enjoyed ramping up their LinkedIn presence, their Instagram presence. They'll take photos of their clients in cool clothing, they'll post it. One of our top salespeople in our company actually just started about 5 years ago. And she's huge on Instagram, which I think helped her kind of propel her business. So for anyone that loves social media, you can definitely it's kind of self-promotion to build your own clientele. Internally, once we've already kind of prospected and found people, our company does do some mass emails, promotions that we'll have going, things like that. And then when it comes to like customer service, making sure everyone's happy, it's kind of your responsibility as a salesperson to take care of your clients, making sure you're taking care of any issues they may have. But I know that we as a company also do send out certain surveys that they can take as well. So as soon as they're a new client, a survey will be sent to them, making sure they're happy with their product, their salesperson, just kind of keeping track of customer service as well.
Good deal. Thank you very much.
Similar to her, we don't do a lot of marketing inside of the four walls at our branches. There's some brochures and things of that nature, as well as some spec sheets to make sure you're getting the right truck for whatever it is that you're moving. The only thing that we do inside would be like a shop tour if we were looking at signing somebody to a contract maintenance deal, so they can tour our shop and see how we have it set up, why we have it set up that way, because we'd be taking over their facility and running it for them. Outside of the four walls, we have hundreds of thousands of trucks all over the country at any given point that are moving around with, moving billboards at any given point. So they kind of just do it for us.
There you go. All right. So next question. In our retail course, we have a strong interest in learning about inventory management. What work do you do in the stores or work in your different spaces to related to either buying or ensuring that you've got the appropriate breadth and depth of merchandise? And I know each of you is going to have a totally different perspective on how you might answer this, but we'll start over there.
For me, it comes down to my fleet. So I have 500 units in my fleet, and I see them as chess pieces on a chessboard, and they're all used for something a little bit different, and they're broken down into different classes for needs. And I basically look at different reports that show me the profitability, the revenue breakdown, the expenses breakdown, and then I'm looking at the utilization of those different vehicle classes throughout the year to make sure that, are we running the right fleet for the right market? In terms of working with the sales team and hearing what they're listening to customers talk about on the phones as well as just industry news, helps me tailor the fleet that I have for my territory.
All right, sounds good. Thank you.
I would say for Tom James as a company, we have a lot of people that put in a lot of time and research into popular trends, colors for the year, popular fabrics and so on. We're vertically integrated though too, so we make all of our own fabrics and do all of our own manufacturing. So for example, I'm sure they monitor if the fabric is getting low. They can definitely send a new order to the mill to have more fabric made, or sometimes it'll just sell out for that season and then we'll have new fabrics for the next season. We're 100% custom though, so nothing's actually made until a client orders it. So it kind of helps our not having excess in fabrics as well. If we do have excess in fabrics, we just sell our fabric to another company. When it comes to a salesperson though, we don't have to worry about inventory at all because nothing's made until someone orders it. So that's kind of nice.
There you go. Different perspective, like I was saying. Cameron, if you'd like to share with us.
Yeah, we're unique since obviously we don't sell direct, but we had to more coach our teams on how to talk to distribution since really COVID, about weeks of stock, months of stock, and how much stock that the distribution house is carrying, or their account packages, because everybody wants a little bit more stock than others. So it's not only that, but hey, what profitable SKUs are they carrying? If they're sitting on too much stock, returning to that to make sure that we have the right product in their stores. Because for us, we grew heavily during COVID because everybody stayed home. They were doing home projects. And then coming down the tail end of COVID, we had to rely more on our industrial channel, so my side of the business, to pick up the speed. So it's a little bit different for us, like I said, because we're more coaching our distribution on how they should sell from a inventory standpoint. So yeah,
All right. Thank you very much.
you got it.
Steinhoffels.
Inventory management is very important to us. Most of our business is done out of our brick and mortar stores. We actually opened a second distribution center this year, which was a huge deal for us. So we opened we have one in Waukesha, Wisconsin, right outside Milwaukee, and then we just opened a second one in Bolingbrook, Illinois, so that we can expand our delivery areas as far as like where we can. So right now, on an average day, we do anywhere from 300 to 450 unique deliveries every single day, 7 days a week. And so having very specific controls, we stock at any one time anywhere between 45 and 60 million dollars in product at those two distribution centers. So having proper processes to scan everything in, everything out. When the customer signs off electronically for their product, when it's in the home, sends a message, and then that for that product to be finalized. And then there's another process when that delivery truck gets back to the distribution center to make sure it's actually empty, that there's no product on the truck, nothing got returned, anything like that. To like our in-store processes where we have in-store leadership team scans parts of the store every day to make sure we don't deal with a lot of shrink, which is I think another part of like can be inventory management. It's pretty hard to stuff a sofa down your pants, but
I was just thinking that, yeah.
we don't get a lot of what you would consider like your generalized theft. But obviously with that much product coming in and out every day, like paperwork errors and things like that could become very easy if you don't have really great processes in place to make sure that things are getting checked in and checked out properly.
Now, actually, I have a follow-up question for Brandy related to what Chad just said. Could I get pants where I could, in fact, shove a couch down would Tom James be able to make me a custom pair of?
It's custom, so we can figure it out, I'm sure.
I figured if there's one company that could. All right, back to the actual questions. All right, the final question that I've got on my official list is, what is the role of sales in your positions? So we'll start on this end and move that way.
Well, we kind of revolve around sales. So if we didn't sell furniture, we probably wouldn't be in business. So we sell and deliver furniture. So the two main things that we do. So yeah, just very important that we're doing all of the right things and meeting our customers' needs. We're first and foremost there for the customers. Every time, when people ask what the day-to-day looks like, I say you take care of the customers and then we'll take care of the back end work. Anybody that's new coming in. So really, if we're not making sales, we're not going to be profitable. I think that's kind of a given for Steinhoffels.
Imagine that, a company that has to sell stuff. Who would have thought, right? All right. Oh, sorry, Cameron.
No, you're good.
I'm thinking in person, sorry.
So for us, a lot of people think a tangible item of a power tool, but for us, it's really selling a solution for our end users. So the amount of new products that Milwaukee Tool comes out with, I think we come out with anywhere from 80 to 100 new solutions every single year. So from an external standpoint, it's selling the solution to our users, and then internally, it's working close with, from my standpoint, our regional managers, to ensure coaching our salespeople into that next role is my biggest thing of the internal sales process. And then also challenging our teams to think about their business in a different way and overcome challenges to continue to grow our business overall.
I like that you brought up solutions. For anybody who's taken a class with me, you've probably heard me say that customers are problem solvers, and it's understanding what that problem is and how we can help them address it. That's what's going to make for successful marketing. So good stuff.
Absolutely.
Thank you.
Sales is our entire business, I would say. We actually do the entire sales process too. So I know some companies have maybe the inside sales, outside sales. As a sales professional, we do from the prospecting, phone calling, booking appointments, taking care of the clients from the start to finish. So sales is very involved, I guess.
All right. Thank you very much.
Sales is heavily a big part of my job. It could be my weekly meetings with my dedicated outside sales rep, looking at our book of business, making sure that the right customers have the right equipment, that our rates are good, approving deals. It could also be training my team to answer inbound calls and book trucks and generating competitions so they have a fun time converting more callbacks throughout the week. Or it could be the relationships that I've built with different customers over the course of the years and making sure that they're paying their invoices, whether it's maintenance related things or any payment decline and stuff like that. But it's a massive part of my role.
Good to know. Good to know. All right. So I'm gonna give it a shot. I'm gonna give it a shot. Is there anybody here that would like to ask a question of the panel? We didn't know if we'd have this opportunity or not, but we're gonna want to just give you a chance if you wanted to ask a question. Anyone bold enough? Nobody? Really?
Panel must have done a really good job here.
Okay. Someone has just been told that they have a question to ask.
Okay, so going into sales out of college, what would you say was like your biggest struggle, and what would be a piece of advice you have for that struggle?
We'll start there with Penske, if you would be so kind.
I think it's just starting like with understanding the product and like where the value is at the end of the day. And then I just would take a lot of notes to figure out what that is. And then my recommendation to you is never stop growing, even when you graduate. I do a lot of conferences outside of work and a lot of different audiobook programs and like coaching with different mentors. So never stop growing at the end of the day.
That's a very good piece of advice. Yes, lifelong learning. This is not when you stop learning. This is where you're beginning to learn how to learn. So
I would say with my role specifically, huge on personal growth. So in sales, you get a lot of no's, which in college you may not think that's going to affect you like it does. So we work on, like I said, personal growth. I think the hardest thing for me was making sure I was constantly tied to like my goals, vision, where I wanted to end up instead of getting lost in the day-to-day feelings. Because sometimes sales can be a little bit of a roller coaster. There's some really good days, some really character building days. Just like working on that vision, that goal, and kind of focusing on what you're building.
I like that the two categories of days are good and character building.
Life.
Yeah, that's a nice way to put it. So we'll start with Cameron, but then after that, if you want to join in with something. Cameron, would you like to?
Yeah, I think for me, I went from Whitewater to Fort Worth in about 2 weeks. So it was personally like not knowing the area, but also not knowing what I was getting myself into. But definitely excited for the opportunity with Milwaukee Tool, and it's been a really fun 12 years. And I would say feedback or something you should do is don't be the person that's sitting back. Like get involved and don't be afraid to mess up. If you do mess up, just learn from that mistake and continue to move on. Would be the biggest piece of advice.
Good advice. Jenna, anything?
I think my favorite piece of advice that I've ever received was actually when I was going through the interview process with TTI. And that was to always consider myself an unfinished project. So, what more can I learn? What ways can I challenge myself? And what ways can I really put into practice my critical thinking skills? How much further can I drive this business? How much further can I grow myself? But also be a sponge, learn from everyone, and take every opportunity that you're given.
It's like good advice up here. All right, you want to go in the
For myself, I'd say when I was right on the other side in Whitewater, I said sales is not something that I want to do. And a lot of people probably say they don't want to do sales. And even when I graduated, it wasn't something I was, oh my gosh, I want to do sales. It's like for myself, it was more of the leadership. But then thinking back, I've been in sales my entire life because I waitressed all the way through high school and college. And really, that is sales. So once I kind of tied it all together, I think it was kind of just natural. Like you're just talking and just being a human being. But the biggest piece of advice I'd say is just to continue to ask questions. One thing is you want to be the expert right away and you want to have all the answers and you want to know everything, but that's just not the reality of it. And you're always going to have things to learn. I think a lot of people, or a lot of us have said that exact same thing, is you're going to continue to grow, continue to learn. So just don't be afraid to say, I don't have the answer, but I can find the answer.
Good advice. Chad, do you want to?
I mean, I think very simply, like, ask great questions. I mean, one thing I do when I sit down with someone on their first day, whether it's a manager, a sales associate, doesn't matter, is I always tell them it's their training program, not my training program. Yeah, we have lots of great things in place, but everybody learns at a different pace. Everybody has different things that they get stuck on or that are issues for them. You need to raise your hand and tell us when you run into those bumps so we can go back and do it. And other stuff, maybe you learn really quickly and we can go through that. So I think it's really important to make sure you speak up and ask great questions to get what you need.
Good advice. All right. With that, we're ending a little bit early, and I would encourage you after this is over, these folks would be happy to talk to you and meet with you and maybe tell you a little bit about their companies. So do that. Okay. This is a great opportunity to learn a little bit about some of these different firms and see whether or not you might be a right fit for these companies. Thanks.
All right, thank you, Rob, for moderating, and thank you again to our partners. Kind of to echo what Rob said, don't be afraid to come up here and talk to the partners. They're looking to hire you for jobs and internships. So I'm very fortunate enough to get a job with one of our partners, and I'm not stressed. Throughout my last semester, I have a job lined up, so I'm just going through the process of finishing school, and that could be you. And couple of short semesters, it comes up really quick. So if you haven't already, please sign in, and another round of applause, please, for our partners and Rob. Thank you guys so much. All right, we're gonna keep this up for a couple more minutes. And then for those of you in AMA, I do have a couple of short announcements. I know our meetings only go until around 5, but these certificates tend to go a little longer. But again, if you want to talk to our partners, feel free to come up here.
Scanning's not working. You can
All right, for those in AMA, I just want to say that our meeting next week, we're going to have pizza and it's going to be another case day. So right at 4 here in this room. And then if you would like to do this, talk to Rafa. He's right over there.